Yo, what's up, Swag? And you already know what time it is, man. It's your boy Keon Lauren, aka KL Swag. Back here with a video, man. Look, man, we are back here giving another Matt B great reaction, man. Another late upload. Deion Sanders is exposing the dark truth about college football. Let's check it out. Is this the reason why I'm not playing no more? Everything happened for a reason? Let's check it out.
This college football is not supposed to be. What was the situation when he came into his situation?
Deion Sanders is finally exposing the dark truth and the harsh reality of college football.
Let's see.
All here for it. It needs to be said. And the saddest part about this is Deion Sanders is one of the very few coaches, if not the only coach, who has big enough balls to even speak up on this. It sucks, man. It really does. But what are you going to do about it? It's the new reality.
Y'all know I'm going to have my intake on it. Y'all already know. Y'all know the reason why I ain't playing college ball.
Oh, man. It was only a matter of time before your boy Deion Sanders, a.k.a. Coach Prime, whatever you want to call him, spoke up on this matter and subject. And this is also another reason why I respect this man and I like him so much, because he says it how it is. He doesn't lie. He gives you the cold, harsh truth. A lot of you weren't watching the channel when I stated this because I said it over 3 years ago. That's hard to believe, but yeah, it was over 3-some years ago when I first said this. The NIL, I'm a fan of it, and it's going to be awesome. There's going to be a lot of great stuff to it, but there's also going to be a lot of negatives to it as well. And maybe some of you are an OG of the channel, and you remember when I first talked about all this. Just like with anything in this life, with the good, you're going to get the bad, and we're seeing the bad to the NIL. And here we are, 3 to 4 some years later, and we are now seeing those negatives that I said were going to happen with the NIL. I wish I could sit up here and say I'm some rocket scientist, but you didn't have to be a genius to see this coming. Deion Sanders is finally exposing the dark truth and the harsh reality of college football, and I'm all here for it. It needs to be said, and the saddest part about this is Deion Sanders is one of the very few coaches, if not the only coach, who has big enough balls to even speak up on this. Because all the other coaches out here, they're just letting it fly under the radar. They're not speaking up. I can't emphasize this enough. Number one, I'm glad Deion's speaking up on this, but number two, this is why I like him so much. We're going to talk all about that in tonight's video, but also, you remember Pat Narduzzi, right? Pittsburgh's head coach who called out Deion Sanders? Well, Deion also responded to him. There's a lot of stuff going on with Deion Sanders.
Damn.
I'm here for it. If you like the primetime show, that's what it's going to be about. And oh yeah, hold on. You thought I forgot? Another night, another primetime video. Come on, man. Y'all know I didn't forget the intro. All right, Matt, blah, blah, blah. Shut the crap up.
Damn, Matt.
What I do. Let's
get into it.
Every dream deserves a chance.
Let's get into it.
Another night, another primetime video. Where do y'all want to start with this? I say we start out with Coach Prime responding to Pat Narduzzi, Pittsburgh's head coach who called him out a couple of weeks ago. If you have no idea what happened, like I said, Pittsburgh's head coach called him out. Here's what he said. When you become a head coach, you inherit that team and you coach that team. If someone wants to leave, that's great. You don't kick them out. I disagree with that whole process. That's not why I got in the game. Yet again, that's what Pittsburgh's head coach had to say about Deion Sanders and what he's doing up in Colorado. We've already talked about that, and what I said was, I don't agree with him saying that. There's just some things you don't say, and that's one of those things. When he was asked about Coach Prime in Colorado, and by the way, he was asked about it. This isn't just like a random thing he said. He was asked a question. He should have said, oh, yeah, I wish him the best of luck, and left it at that.
Yeah.
But you can obviously tell he feels some type of way because he was ready to speak his mind on this subject and manner. So, number one, I don't agree with him saying this. But number two, I also stated, and I still believe this, mind your own business. You run your football team how you want to run it, and let Coach Prime run his team how he wants to run it. How about that? I think that's a great idea. What do y'all think about it? And here's another point that even I saw people bringing up in the comment section, and it's a great point. Pat Narduzzi was in a completely different situation when he inherited his Pittsburgh team.
Damn.
He inherited a relatively decent team who was making bowl games. Deion Sanders inherited a 1-11 team. It's two different situations. I don't want to go on a complete rampage and tangent on that, but that's up to date on where we are now. And also, ironically enough, I even stated in that video a couple weeks ago, I bet you guys that Deion Sanders doesn't even know who Pat Narduzzi is. And the reason I say that's ironic is because Deion Sanders finally responded to this and said, quote unquote, I don't know who he is. If you walked in here right now, I wouldn't know him. And some people may think that Deion Sanders is trying to be funny when he says that, but no, I don't think he knows him. Why would he know him? It's Pat Narduzzi. It's not like he's a big-time deal or hotshot. And I saw a bunch of people comment stuff like this. Typical Deion deflecting and trying to be cool. He's a clown and Narduzzi is 100% correct. And that got over 200
Sound
likes, so
dumb.
I'd like to
Shut
assume
up.
a lot of people agree with that comment in person, whoever tweeted that. Well, here's my take on this. How is Deion Sanders trying to deflect and be cool? All he said was, yet again, I don't know who he is.
Mad.
That's all he said.
Mad.
I don't see
But he
Deion
mad
Sanders
because he's
trying to be a
speaking the truth,
smart aleck
bro.
or trying to be cool or any of that. And you're entitled to your own opinion, but let me know your thoughts down below. Are you on Pat Narduzzi's side or are you on Deion Sanders' side?
we
I'm
ain't
going to
worried
give you
about
some
no
more
damn Pat
context.
Narduzzi.
Here's the entire clip of where Deion
Pat
Sanders
Narduzzi.
responded to this. And Matt wrote a clip. And oh yeah, by the way, this is courtesy of Well Off Media. You know who it is. It's Bucky, Deion Sanders' son, who runs his channel. Go subscribe to them for me. I'd really appreciate that. Great channel, but yeah, like I said, wrote a clip.
A lot of coaches have been critical from the amount of transfers. Pat Narduzzi.
I don't know how. Why?
Pat Narduzzi specifically.
Who is he?
Pittsburgh, head coach at Pittsburgh.
Okay.
He said this college football is not supposed to be.
What was the situation when he came into his situation? They were about 500 team or a little more. There was a bowl team, right? He didn't have to deal with the situation, so he's talking about something that he never had to deal with. I don't know this gentleman, but I wish him the best. I truly do. If he walked through here right now with his coaching uniform on, I wouldn't even know him.
Well, there you have it. That's the
Damn.
full clip and context. And yet again, I divert back to this. I don't think Deion Sanders is trying to act cool, quote unquote, or he's trying to be some smart aleck. I genuinely don't think he knows who Pat Narduzzi is. And I'm not just saying this to be on Deion Sanders' side. I said this over 3 weeks ago. Go look at the video. And here's my question on
I
people
said-
that
I
are
said
trying
he
to
a
claim that
hater.
Deion Sanders actually knows him. He's just trying to act cool like he doesn't. Number one, how would he know him? And number two, why would he know him? He's a busy man. He has no correlation to Pittsburgh or Pat Narduzzi. And it's not like Pittsburgh is some relevant powerhouse of college football. Did I know who Pat Narduzzi was? Yeah, but this is part of my job. For Deion Sanders, the past
I
couple of
didn't.
years, he's been
I
so
don't care.
focused on his team at Jackson State and now Colorado, he doesn't have time to keep up with all the head coaches across the country, nor does he probably even care. So that is my 2 cents on that, and I'm still mind-boggled as to how Pat Narduzzi can call out Deion Sanders, say, oh yeah, that's not how you do things, and yet Deion Sanders just says, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't even know who that guy is, and yet Deion Sanders is the bad guy. Like, what? That's the equivalent to some troll account writing something on Twitter, tweeting at me, saying something, and I just look at it, I'm like, oh yeah, guys, I don't even know who this dude is. And everybody's like, oh, yeah, look at Matt, man, trying to be all cool, acting like he doesn't know who he is. What? I genuinely don't know who he is. It's the same thing with Deion Sanders. We got to get a move on. I do not feel like screaming and ranting on that topic. It's not good for my health. We got to talk about what is going on with Deion Sanders exposing the harsh reality and the dark truth about college football. As I've slightly matured a little bit and gotten older in life, you know, with age comes wisdom, I've learned and come to find out that a lot of people live in fairy tale land, which is fine and dandy for them, but for me, I like to live in what I call reality. And the reality of college
true.
football, and I hate to say this, but it's the cold hard facts, it's no longer college football. It's a business. I know what
That's
you're
true.
saying, Matt. You're
I've been
making
saying
sense.
that.
You just said college football is no longer college football. What does that even mean? Well, it means I think college football is now NFL 2.0.
It is.
NFL Junior, like JV. What's the difference? Tell me the difference. We're now paying guys, and we also have free agency with the transfer portal. To me, at least, I don't see a difference. It's just the JV version of the NFL.
It's
And I
literally-
always say this, and I'll continue to say it unless my opinion changes, and I don't think it will. I love the NIL. I have a lot of friends in this college football space, whether they're analysts working for these media companies, they're blog writers, whatever, yada, yada, yada. And a lot of them have tried to convince me, Matt, NIL, it's a bad thing, and I stand firm on what I believe in. I have one argument and one argument only as to why I like the NIL for these kids. If somebody on this earth is willing to pay you for your gifts and talents, whatever that may be, you deserve to get that money. Whether you blow that money, whether it's good for you, whether it's bad for you, whether it's whatever you want to call it, I don't care. But if somebody wants to pay you for your talents, yes, I'm all for that. That's the only argument I need, and that is one of the only reasons I like the NIL. But also, these colleges have been milking these athletes and profiting hundreds of millions and billions of dollars off of these kids. So yes, it only seems right to me that these kids get a very small portion and percentage of that. I don't think some people understand that your Alabamas, Georgias, and Ohio State,
They make a lot of money on TV.
they're making in profit about $100 to $200 million every year. And I'm not talking about athletics, guys. I'm talking about just the football program alone. For those of y'all that don't know this, outside of basketball, football for most schools is the only athletic department that actually generates a profit. And without these players and without all these 4- and 5-star recruits coming to these teams and winning all these games, There is no football team.
That's
And
true.
yes, I'm cool with a star quarterback and a star running back and a star wide receiver getting a couple $1 million for that team. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I think players deserve to get paid. End of story. With all that being said, here's the dark side. Whenever we have a great player that's coming back for another season, these big-time schools that got a lot of money like Texas, Georgia, Ohio State, USC, whoever, they try to steal them. The greatest example I can give you is Jordan Addison last year, and ironically enough, he was playing for Pat Narduzzi. Jordan Addison won the Biletnikoff at Pittsburgh, and then USC gave him a couple $1 million, and he left. That,
Damn.
to me, ladies and gentlemen, is the dark side, and that ruins the sport. I hate that. That would have never happened in a million years if it wasn't for the transfer portal and NIL.
That's
But now
true.
what we're seeing happening is when you have a kid who doesn't go to the NFL draft, who had a really good season, and they're coming back for another year of college football, these big-time schools are going after them. And let's say, for example,
Hell
you
yeah.
got a kid playing at UAB, and he has a really good year, and Alabama's like, man, that kid at UAB is really good. Why don't we give him $100,000 to come here? Well, UAB can't compete with that. They can't offer the kid any money. You see what I'm saying?
That's true.
It's happening everywhere, guys. It just doesn't get talked about as much as I probably should even be talking about it. Another example, you got a kid at Texas State.
That's raw as hell, though.
And then Lincoln Riley's like, man, we could use that kid on offense. Well, Texas State can't offer a kid the amount of money that USC can. That is a downside to it, but nobody has spoken up.
Damn, that's raw as hell.
Coach Prime just did. And here's what Coach Prime had to say. I'm going to show you the video clip. Quote unquote, people offered Travis Hunter a bag, about $1.5 million to try to lure him. That is right, you heard me correctly. Other teams, and he didn't say who, but other teams around the country offered Travis Hunter $1.5 million. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of shocked he turned that down. That's a lot of money to say no to. Personally, I think he made the right choice and decision by sticking with Deion
Damn,
Sanders,
I would have took that
he's not
money.
the best fit, but $1.5 million, hard to say no, especially when you don't come from a lot. Yet again, this is off of Bucky's.
I would've took that 1.5 million.
Them. Here's a clip. Matt, roll clip.
You made news with Travis Hunter from the day that he flipped from Florida State to Jack.
These are the newest Pixel devices
Damn.
engineered by Google.
I would've took that
Take
bread.
Photos with Night Sight. Get rid of unwanted distractions with Magic Eraser. And
got me
unblur your
with the
blurry
ad.
memories with Photo Unblur. The Pixel Tablet, Fold, and 7a. Engineered by Google.
God damn, my boy.
When he went into the transfer portal when you came here, there was questions about was he going to decide to make another move because some people came after him.
Yeah, they gave him $1.5 million bag to try to lure him and try to buy him. Travis ain't the kind of guy that could be bought. He ain't built like that. Travis is a relational young man that is built on relationships and stability. And that's what he wanted and that's what he desired. That's why he decided to ride and to stay with us. But
Wow, there you heard it from Coach Primetime.
I like it.
$1.5 million. I can't get over that number. That is a crap ton of money for a cornerback / wide receiver. We can really just call him an athlete. And here's my question to you guys. If you were in Travis Hunter's shoes, would you turn down $1.5 million? Be serious. That is hard to turn down. I mean, Jordan.
I said it. I said I would've got the
He took
1.5
money at
million.
USC. After hearing that news, my respect for Travis Hunter went even higher than what it already was. Great kid, and he obviously has great integrity and high morals. He's not going to sell himself out, and I think he sees the bigger picture. Where a lot of kids, they get
Yeah, it's a bigger
blinded by
picture, but
all
I
that
probably would've
money.
took it, though.
I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. What's the point of making $1 to $2 million at the collegiate level when in the NFL you can make $40 million? He could have took that 1.5, and that was probably from
That's
USC,
true.
and he might have fell in the draft. And I don't know if some of y'all know this, but there's a huge difference from being drafted outside the top 10 compared to being a top 5 pick. You're talking about right there alone a $10 million difference. And I think that's why Travis Hunter wasn't too enticed by it, because he knows in the long run he'll get that money. It's definitely interesting, though, that teams were literally trying to buy him away. What has this game even become?
how
Like
it
I
be.
said in the intro, I hate to say this. It's just sad because we're the NFL JV. It's no longer college football. I'm happy these guys are getting paid and they're getting offers, but it just reminds me of the NFL. And I don't want to be the NFL. I want to be college football. It sucks, man. It really does. But what are you going to do about it? It's the new reality. I'm very curious, though. Let me know your thoughts down below about
Hey, it is what it is. JV, NFL.